Hello and welcome to the Wake Up Call Network. This is the Perky Collar radio and TV show. Welcome back for another episode. Today my guest is Laverne Ellerbe, and she has started her own boutique called Ellerbe's Boutique. Welcome, Miss Laverne.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. So, as you know, with every episode, it's all about getting to know the entrepreneur, getting to know the business owner, and why they do what they do. So that'll be my first question for you, Miss Laverne. What made you start Laverne's boutique?
Okay, well,
Ellerbe's Boutique.
Okay, Ellerbe's Boutique came years later from me starting to sew.
Okay.
I have always sewn, starting with my grandmother when I was
Really?
around 10 years old.
Okay.
She sewed, in my mind, she sewed everything. She could make anything, so it was fascinating for me. And so I started sewing, and then I actually majored in clothing and textiles in college.
Oh, really?
So I have a degree in clothing and textiles. And upon graduating, I found that my field, there were not a lot of job opportunities. And so I started making clothes and having little home fashion shows and doing other fashion shows. And people would ask, well, where's your shop? And I thought, shop? I don't have one.
Right.
And so then it made me think, well, maybe I should, because I was getting so many inquiries. So that started the beginning of Ellerbe's.
Excellent. And how long have you had Ellerbe's open?
Ellerbe's has been open for over 35 years.
Wow.
Oh, 35 years, just different transitions, basically alterations and dressmaking for years and years and years.
Okay.
And then now, currently, I do alterations and I have a collection of wraps.
Okay.
Called Ellerbe's. It's a wrap collection.
Excellent. And wrap meaning W-R-A-P.
W-R-A-P.
Okay, those of you that are rap fans out there, we're not talking about the music.
Wraps, yes.
Right, okay, so let me clarify, because that can be confusing.
Oh, yeah. And then also the body wraps.
Okay.
When people think of wraps, they think of body wraps too, but no, this is outerwear, elegant fashions for women.
Excellent. As like what you're wearing now.
Absolutely.
Right. You
Yes.
gotta wear what you do.
I do.
Excellent. So tell me where people can find you. We have obviously listeners as well as watchers, and they say, sounds really intriguing.
Yes.
I'd love to come by her shop, but I don't know where it is, so help them understand.
Well, currently, I have a home showroom.
Okay.
Okay, and
Much
you
less
can-
expensive than the showroom outside the household.
Well, yes.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Unless the house has to be much bigger because you have a showroom with the house.
Right. I created the home showroom in a transition period.
Okay.
Where I am restructuring the operation with
Okay.
Ellerbe's, where I am downsizing on the alterations and doing more wraps.
I see.
So you can make an appointment
Gotcha.
for the home showroom. But you can also find me online,
Okay.
www.ellerbesboutique.com, where you
Okay.
can see all my fashions. And then I love to exhibit at like major and even small venues, whether it's a convention,
Okay.
whether it's the Southern Christmas Show, the Southern Women's Show. You can find me with a pop-up look at so many places.
Excellent.
So look out for Ellerbe's.
That sounds exciting. So
Yes.
tell me, how did you get, I guess, how's the transition been the last couple of years? You said you went from growing up in a family of making things. Your grandmother
Grandmother.
was an
yes.
incredible seamstress, and you
Yes.
just that's all you know. You grew up watching her make
Mhm.
things. So instead of going to the store, you just say, "Grandma, I want you to make me this," and she made it for you.
Yes.
And the colors you wanted, it fit perfectly. Versus going to a store and have to try things on.
Right.
Grandma made you what looked perfect. So help me understand the transition. You know, obviously you got your degree. Walk us through that journey of
Okay.
have your degree. Did you start a store right away? Did you go work corporate America for a while in that trade?
Right.
Or how, kind of help me understand the process
not
a
at
little
all. I started about 2 years out of college.
bit. Okay.
Like I said, I started working at Sears, the retail store,
Okay.
and I did displays and merchandising there.
Okay.
And then,
As far as mannequins, I assume?
mhm.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, the great thing about that really enhanced my creativity, because as you know, especially years ago, Sears was not considered a fashionable, place for women to buy clothing.
Mm-hmm.
But my little special skills and talents, I really brought their apparel to life. And so that was good. That was a great, great start.
It's a great accomplishment too. I mean, seriously, big
It really
company.
was. It really
And all of a
was.
sudden, people are coming to the store because of the
Mhm.
creations you've created, and
Yes.
I'm sure people took notes of, wow.
Yeah, the way I displayed it. So it was fun. And that was my very, very early year or two out of college, so
Okay.
21-ish. And then in the meantime, I was still creating, making clothing, and like I said, having fashion shows or being invited to show my clothing at fashion shows.
Okay.
And so that was getting a lot of attention, and because people wanted to know how they could, get the fashion. So that's how I ended up opening up a shop with a needle and a bunch of thread and a little fabric, and just started.
And there may be people watching or listening that have a skill of sewing
Mm-hmm.
and would love to open up their own place, or maybe start out in their own home, like a sewing room. What advice would you give them on how to get started? What investments you should make, what you shouldn't make, maybe mistakes you've learned from, those type of things.
Yeah, one thing that I found is the field that I'm in, it's, well, first of all, it's a creative field. And I found that some of my best designs came from trial and error.
Okay.
I may have intentions to do one thing, and somehow something didn't go right, but then it actually was right. When I really looked at it, it's like, oh, well, this could work. So it's, you have to be flexible.
Okay.
Always flexible. But to start off, you basically need passion. You need passion for sewing, and you have to realize that, like I said, the flexibility I mentioned before, you have to be able to change up, recreate always.
Okay.
And you have to stick with it, because it's not for the faint of heart
Sure.
at all.
Well, help me, again, I think a lot of people watch Shark Tank, obviously one of the most popular shows on television. And a lot of people watch that show and they think, oh, well, their valuation's $1 million or $500,000. They've already accomplished so much, but they don't talk about the show is the struggles or things they learned from, and the times where they kind of hit rock bottom, but they learned from it and they moved on. In the process of having a home showroom and then having your own retail space, then back to your home showroom, are there lessons you learned that you could share with the audience that could help them decide if they want to have a home showroom or they want to have their own retail space?
Yes. Well, one thing I found whenever I decided to go back to my home, I was in a process of restructuring.
Okay.
And in my commercial location, you are just that. You are open to the public.
Right.
So with the place that I saw that my wrap collection was going, I knew that I needed more time to dedicate to that. In my retail location, more dedication was for alterations,
I see.
because that's the way the business model was set up.
I see.
But in the meantime, the wrap collection was kind of taking steam. But still, because that was my business model, and I had to stay true to that model,
Sure.
I couldn't say, oh, excuse me, I have to do a wrap.
Right.
I would have to do Davis pants.
Right.
That was a priority. So I knew that whenever I made that transition, then I could switch my model.
I see.
And so then I cut alterations down to 3 days, give me more time to do work on the wraps. And so that more or less kind of gave me permission to be still, have good business etiquette, instead of kicking customers to the curb. Oh no, I'm doing wraps now.
Right.
So
So the $1 million question, I think, and you touched on it a little bit right there. If you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? Would you change the business model to focus on wraps right out of the gate, and the alteration just kind of be a fill-in? Or to do, how would you change the business model?
you know what, if I had to do it all over again, there are probably some things I could tweak here or there, probably earlier.
Okay.
I would love to have gotten into the wrap portion earlier.
Okay.
But I am a strong believer in faith in the higher power, in
Sure.
God. And so I realized some years ago that He was directing my path. So I realized that I had to stay in His direction.
Okay.
There are a lot of times when I wanted to really jump, push everything aside. The rap is on,
Right.
But
I'm all in.
yes, I'm all in. But I had to realize, no, don't jump ahead of yourself. And that's another important thing. Just kind of stay true to where you are. stay true to your customers, have integrity,
Sure.
and all of that. And things will eventually fall into place.
Makes sense.
Now, through that transition, keep in mind, alterations is full-time and a half. My alteration business was huge. Okay,
Mhm.
so think in terms of if you all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but if you decide to make a change, and now I'm only doing alterations 3 days a week, so that means that I'm cutting paycheck. Okay,
Mhm.
and so you heard me mention earlier that I'm on a faith journey,
Mhm.
so I had to really be tested during that period,
Sure.
because just imagine cutting 2/3 of your paycheck or a third of your paycheck for weeks, months, and still holding true. So,
Sure.
but as promised, the plan was to diminish alterations, keeping that base of customers, and then the wraps would rise. And so that's what has happened.
So after you've been through this journey of the alterations as being your primary source of income, wraps gaining momentum, you hit a crossroad of
Yes.
what do I do? How do I balance
Oh.
both?
Oh,
Do I
yes.
run with the alterations part of the business and kind of let someone else do the wraps? Or do I run with the wraps, let someone else do the alterations? Or do I pick one and be great at one of those two things?
Yes.
How did you decide? Like, where's your crossroads now? Where's your passion come from now? If I could say, Laverne, you can only do one thing, I'm sorry. You have to pick one thing. What would it be?
Well, at this point in my life, it would be the wraps.
The reps. So
If I had to choose one thing.
you're okay to let go of the alterations now, even though that's your bread and butter, and that's
But you know what? It's no longer my bread and butter.
I see.
That's what I'm saying. By following,
okay. So
By
the transitions
following.
are made then financially for you.
it was made.
Good.
But you know, the
But it
funny
took
thing
time.
about it, I know you were interested in knowing about tough times and how you pushed through those times. And I keep mentioning faith. Now, there were times during that period where, I didn't tell you this, but my days for alterations were Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
That's what I set.
Sure.
And then other times were, flexible. So in tough times, sometimes it's like, well, maybe we should add Friday.
Right. I can
You know
see
what I
that.
mean?
Sure.
But I had to say no. Stay focused. Stay focused.
Well, they always
Stay
say the
focused.
business that grows is the one that gets the time. And I think the challenge you'd have, if I can be in your shoes for a brief minute, is well, if I want the wraps to grow, I need to give it at least 2 days a week.
Right.
If that's my passion.
Right. Exactly.
But I'm sure financially, it's like I want the wraps to be a bigger financial contribution, but right now it's alteration. So it's a tough, like you said, you have to follow your faith and follow your belief factor and figure out
Exactly.
you'll go where you're meant to go
And stay focused.
and stay focused.
Stay focused. That is so crucial, and that's what really got me through the transition. And so, with having that additional time, and I say fair and square
Sure.
because that's my new model. Remember, so I can do that.
Yeah.
I was able to get out to more events. I do more traveling with my wraps, and it's just wonderful to see. Depending on the show,
Right.
just like I participated for the first time in the Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
That was amazing. People come from everywhere for that festival.
Sure.
And so it's nice when, you're doing your ending business with them and you see they live in Ohio, they live in wherever, all over, then you know that your products are going places.
It's exciting.
Yeah, and the most amazing thing to me, which I think about sometimes very little, it kind of comes to me, I think about, at any given time, when I go from a blank space, when I get ready to do my setup, and I set it up, no one has to receive my pieces. You know what I mean? They don't have to receive it. So when I have that moment, I'm just so thankful because they don't have to.
Right.
But I put the work in, and that's my goal always, for them to receive it, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, I can see, and I can also see going from Laverne, the alterations person, to Laverne, the designer.
Exactly.
And once you become the designer, then people want you to showcase your work and they want you to be in fashion shows. And that's a
Yes.
whole nother confidence boost. That's a whole nother component of your life.
Yes.
It's like, hey, I did alterations. I can do that. But because of my alterations background, I can design beautiful wraps that fit you well.
Exactly.
And you have lots of different ways you can wear it. And you have a creative side of you when it comes to wearing wraps that you wouldn't have had if you didn't have the alterations background.
Right, right.
And now you can see yourself on the runway and it's like, yes, that's my wrap. And I love how you wore it. And that's the perfect person I designed that for. Like you had a vision color-wise and stature-wise and age-wise, all those things.
And that's why all of those pieces of the puzzle are important. Now, besides the wraps, and this is not boasting, but I'm amazing at fitting.
Okay.
At fitting women. I know bodies.
Right.
I mean, I never forget, years ago I had a wedding. I did a wedding, that's when I was making, I used to make bridesmaids dresses, you know, big wedding parties and all of that. And there was one wedding, I think it was like 12, 14 girls, so it was a lot.
It was big.
It was big. And I made two-piece suits, beautiful suits. But the thing that I took a minute to notice, and they did, of course, there were so many different size women naturally with that large wedding party. But the thing that they loved so much, from the smallest girl, you know, typically in society, the smallest girl is going to look the cutest. Right. But the big girls, because of my ability to fit, they were so happy. And that was just nice. So they were giving the little girls a run.
Yeah, that's good.
By the way they look. So all of the pieces of the puzzle, from the alterations, from starting with my grandmother, from making wedding parties to all of it. No, I wouldn't change any of that because all of that is experience. And now with the wraps, for me, because I've always wanted to start off as a designer, but I had my son my first year in college. Well, I mean, actually I had him early, and so when you have a child, life is different.
Sure.
So I've always wanted to be the designer from the beginning, but you just have to go a path.
Makes sense.
And so now that I've gone all these steps, and children are way grown, and so now it's my time.
Right.
And so that's the reason what the wraps do for me. For me, it gives me the freedom to create, to design, to take all of my years of experience with everything and just put it out.
Is there a certain material that you love to work with?
I love ponte knit. And this is actually ponte knit here. I love ponte knit because it's just a nice, luxurious knit, and that it can transcend seasons.
Okay.
You know. And, of course, if it's freezing cold, you're not going to wear this.
Right.
But it can transcend seasons. I love the way it flows. I love just so much about it.
Excellent. And is there certain parts of the country that you have more success, more interest from, based on their fashion, their style, their climate, that you found? Like for me, the Perky collar, the people in Virginia love it.
They love
I'm not
it
sure
in
it's because it's
Virginia.
more densely populated or just because they're more fashion forward. But I wasn't sure if you found the same thing, that certain parts of the country just appreciate or love or genuinely order more from certain segments of the country.
Well, you know what, to be able to say honest, my, of course, main base is concentrated in the Charlotte area.
Okay.
I don't do a lot of traveling,
Okay.
like far distances.
Sure.
But it's more or less they may go. The person may be here from places.
Of
So
course.
that's something I
Well, like
haven't
online
quite
sales.
figured out.
Like have you tracked your online
Yes,
sales as far as are they southeast? Are they
More southeast.
more southeast? Okay. Okay, very good. So it's nice to see. I think it's always great to see someone comes to me and goes like he'll pull his collar up and let me know he's wearing his Perky collar.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's, and obviously the hard part for me is you can't tell they're wearing it necessarily. If their collar looks terrible, you know they're not wearing it.
Yes.
But if their collar looks great, you don't know for sure they're wearing your product. But with yours, you recognize your designs.
Yes.
You know, that's always neat to be in public at a restaurant, the theater, and like, that's my wrap. You know,
Yeah.
you know.
As a matter of fact, I can tell you something real funny with my daughter. My daughter lives in Raleigh.
Okay.
And so she went to, she had been in a sorority function where a young lady had just come into the sorority. Right? So two of my customers and sorority sisters, they had already purchased wraps here in Charlotte. You know, they were pink and, okay. So my daughter was already in the venue. And so the two customers and sorority sisters came strolling in. You know, keep in mind they came from Charlotte, strolling in. And then my daughter looked like, wait a minute, who are you with my mom's wraps on? And you didn't stop by me. You know, they didn't see her. but I thought that was just interesting. And then also, one thing I found is very interesting. Once I had my setup, I had branded. I had branded my look and my setup because customers, if they see my setup before they see me, then it's like, wait a minute. The first thing they're thinking, now who's trying to, now that's got to be Ellerbe.
That's right.
You know, their first concern is someone trying to do her stuff before they see me. Then when they see me, it's like, okay, all right, we're okay. So that's really nice.
Yes.
I think to have branded. But you know what, the type of person that I am, I don't have a lot of, I'm only talking about it because you're asking me.
Sure.
But I'm a worker. You know, I'm a worker. I do my thing. And one of my girlfriends, she says, you know, you like to do so funny. You just keep going, going, going. Where I don't really take a lot of time to really think about those things.
Right.
You know, so I just work and make it happen.
Right. And the audience should know I've tried to get Laverne on the show since November. So it took me a couple months. And we had a snowstorm last week, otherwise I should have seen her.
Yes.
But
I'm glad
the roads are cleared now. We got
yeah, it worked out.
We're going to make it this time.
It worked out. But you know, that's but you know, I'm glad it finally happened.
Okay.
You know, and that's one of my goals this year is to actually kind of free up time to just kind of get out and about a little bit.
Well, it's important. You're such an important, integral part of the brand that your story needs to be told.
Yes.
And whether they hear this on the radio, they see this on TV, they see it on YouTube or Facebook, it's just important to know who Laverne Ellerbe is and why did you start this business. Because people will be drawn to your product more because they know who you are and where you come from than just another wrap they find in a store.
Exactly.
You know?
And I just love what I do. I just have such a passion for it. And like I said, with my many miles that I have traveled dealing with women, whether it's making clothing for them or whatever, I just know women. I know what women love. I love women that are elegant, sophisticated, that just kind of know. And it's so amazing sometimes even to see women that may not be like prissy as I am and a lot of other women, but to see them actually put it on and they just feel some kind of way, feel different. That's amazing to me.
It is.
That's really amazing.
And I think there's a certain knack that you have or a gift, God-given gift where regardless of your size, regardless of your height,
exactly,
a wrap can make you feel sexier, slimmer, and to be able to find that wrap to fit you right, or to find a way to wrap it around you.
Exactly.
We have a scarf line through Perky, and one of my challenges was to learn how to use the wrap. It's a 50 by 50 wrap, and I have zero wrapping skills.
Right.
But it was interesting to see how the look on the person makes a big difference based on how you wrap it.
Oh, yeah. And it makes
could be
a
a young
difference.
version, older version, elegant version, kind of just more like a scarf, all based on how you wrap it. And if you can give a woman the confidence to feel more glamorous, I mean, everyone wants to feel like they're on the red carpet anytime they go out to dinner or to a movie or to anywhere special.
Absolutely.
And if the wrap can give you that feeling of elegance, especially when taking photographs, I mean, you've just done a great thing for that customer by giving them a wrap.
I love that. I love that.
Right.
And for me, it's not just a matter of a person just buying one.
Right.
I want them to feel it.
Right.
And to be excited about it. You know?
Right.
It's amazing. Because honestly, although when you're in business to sell. But I'd rather not sell if she doesn't feel it.
Right. Well, the Coca-Cola phrase, not to give Coca-Cola a whole lot of credit for this episode, is taste the feeling.
Okay.
And one thing I learned from Coca-Cola is that anything you're selling, if it doesn't have a feeling attached to it, you're just peddling stuff.
Exactly.
You know, so for the Perky collar, it's how I feel when my collar looks nice and crisp and clean. For you, it's how I feel when I have a wrap that fits me perfectly and I feel like $1 million.
And it gives you that look. And then too, I am just with my naturalness. My mom gave me this natural prissiness, but my customers, they find me kind of entertaining or whatever they find me. Because just like, for instance, with the scarf, like whenever I'm, fitting them and I tie the scarf, and I'll say, well, the way you tie your scarf depends on what you want to tell the people. And they say, oh.
What kind of mood you in? Then it gets fun.
And basically, and that's basically it, because you know, if you're feeling like, although this particular one is not stiff, but some of like the heavier fabrics,
Right.
you know, if you pull it and it's stiff and it'll stand up and, you know, you're feeling all hardy-tardy and that's just the way you feel,
Okay.
you do that.
So now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
This will be our grand finale. You guys ready for
Okay.
this? So show me a handful of ways to use the wrap based on
Okay.
how you feel. So I want you to
Okay.
call this kind of feeling. This is how
Okay.
you wear it when you feel like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you feel. This is how you wear it when you feel like this.
Okay.
And give our audience a nice visual aid. I can get out of the picture too, so you can be all about Laverne
Well,
if
you
you
don't
want.
have to.
But if
Yeah,
she's
no,
got enough
you can
space
stay.
without me getting in the way.
Yeah, you can say.
Okay, so give us what's the
Okay.
feeling first?
Okay.
The feeling of
Okay, well, basically, with a feeling like this, with this particular one, you know, you could wear it several ways. I normally just do the basic, you know, tie, which just kind of gives it a little layer. Okay?
and that's sophistication, that's elegance. What is
It's
that feeling?
elegance.
Okay.
It's just elegance.
What's elegance? Okay.
Okay.
This is
And
the
then-
elegant style of wrapping.
Yes.
Okay.
And then with this particular scarf, I did a reversible side with black, which will contrast here. Okay. So if you just want to show them that just gives you a little bit more edge.
Okay.
Okay. Boom, boom.
Nice.
Okay. And then, you know, if you just want to throw it back, like, okay, I'm tired of being cute for a minute, just throw it back, but you're still working your look.
Oh, nice.
Okay. And
Keep in
then,
mind this is PG, so if there's a naughty one, we have to be very careful.
yeah, no. You know, if you just want to throw it back, you just don't want anything hanging, you could just throw it back, just still showing the contrast.
Right.
Hmm.
Nice.
And what I mentioned before about, like the thicker fabrics, you can pull it, and it just kind of stands, like flower-like. And so, what I tell people too, you know, jokingly, but that's all in just kind of making them feel really good. I say, you know, when you pop it like that, then you just walk up in there. I said, don't say nothing. You don't have to say anything. And they just smile, you know, like, oh, okay. And, you know, and I tell them, I said, because see, you thinking, look, you don't have to speak to me, but just respect the situation.
Right.
You know, and they just think it's just like, oh my gosh. And just like when the fabulous Miss Rita Miles came in my Christmas show booth, she was just so amazed. Once she put her wrap on, she did not take it off.
I know. She came by my booth wearing the same thing.
Right. So I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. But the good part about it, I didn't know who she was when she came in.
Yeah.
But I treated her like any other customer. And then during the process, then I realized who she was. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then it was extra exciting that she loved it.
And she came on my booth and said, "You must call her.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. She made this," and she showed it to me.
Mhm. Yeah, she was all propped up.
She's like,
you
"This
know.
is great
Yeah.
stuff. Make sure you call her." I'm like, "Okay."
So that was nice, and now we're here.
And because she gave me that card, that's why Laverne's here today, and she's here to share with you her beautiful wraps.
Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Did you cover all the different ways to do
I
the wrap?
did,
So
for
make sure we
this
leave
one.
anything out.
Oh no, I think we're good.
Excellent.
And then some use it like a belt.
Okay.
You know, if you
That
belt,
makes sense.
you know, you can do that.
Excellent. Anything we left out?
I think we're good.
We're good? Excellent. Well, you're watching the Wake Up Call Network, and this is our show, the Perky Collar radio and TV show.
Yeah.
I want to thank my guest today, Laverne Ellerbe, and again, her store is called Ellerbe's Boutique. You can find her online at ellerbesboutique.com,
Yes.
and she has a home showroom where you can make an appointment. Do you want to give a
Yes.
phone number where they can make an appointment?
Yes, 704-369-6414.
Excellent. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll be right back after the break. Take a couple minutes to talk about my business and some of the things that I'm doing. Give you a reason to tune in each week. So I'm an inventor. Everyone's like to say they've met an inventor. It's nothing special. I just decided to solve a problem and create a solution instead of complaining about the problem. So I created a product called the Perky Collar. It is a collar support system for dress shirts. The packaging is right here. And what the product does, it lifts the collar up, so if I'm not wearing a tie, I can maintain a high collar professional look. So what it looks like is this. It has a nice magnetic lid for the box, so you can store accessories in here, and this is what the tool looks like. Nothing fancy, but it does a great job of lifting the collar up so it doesn't droop and sag. Let me show you how it works. So this is how you want your shirt to look if you're not wearing a tie. but you can see as soon as I remove the collar support, how quickly the placket starts to fold, the collar starts to tuck under. It just looks sloppy. And if I went to any downtown of any city across the country, 90% of the men are walking out like this unless they have ties on. And the tie is almost dead. So because it's dead, I decided to come up with a product that can help people not wear a tie, but not look sloppy at the same time. So here's how it works. Lift the collar up. You want to leave your collar stays in because collar stays prevent collars from curling. That's a different problem. Take the Perky collar, drop it down, and then put the collar down on top of it. And that's it. And now you're back to a nice high collar professional look. Sometimes you adjust this a little bit to make sure it's even. And there goes the folded placket. There goes the tucking under my blazer. And it's back to a nice, clean, crisp look. Now where can you find the Perky collar? I'm sure that's the question you're about to ask. Let me answer that question for you. It's PerkyLLC.com, spelled PerkyLLC.com. So this product's been on the market for about 2.5 years. We've now sold 10,020 as of today. And looking forward to our next 10,000 sold. To complement the Perky collar, I've also reached out to other inventors all across the country to complement the Perky collar. And I met a gentleman out of St. Louis, Missouri named Cedric Cobb, and he invented what's called the Best Pocket Square Holder. So he sells a Perky collar on his websites and shows. I sell his pocket square holder on my website. And that way people looking for innovation can find innovation on his website along with innovation on my website. So his product looks like this. It's called the Best Pocket Square Holder. And here's what it does. It solves the problem of the droopy, saggy pocket squares. So pocket squares, when you fold them, they always unfold and always fall down in your jacket pocket. So this device looks like this. You simply squeeze the device, drop the folded pocket square or pocket round in the device. It locks it in place. And then because the height of the pocket square holder, it just drops right into the pocket, keeping it perfectly looking great and not having to mess with it over and over again throughout the day. And that's the pocket square holder. Both items sell for $25 on the website. Again, you're talking $50 total for both items, but they make a world of difference. If you haven't bought holiday gifts yet for the men in your life that just are hard to buy for, these are two great innovative products that I'm sure they would truly enjoy. I'm not finished yet. We also have what's called button-up collar stays. Now, collar stays have been around since the 1950s. I'm tired of talking about collar stays. Well, these collar stays are different. This is a gentleman out of Wichita, Kansas. His name is Mike Fisher, and he invented a collar stay, but it has an added function of a hook on the end. And that's to help you fasten buttons on your sleeve, as well as help you fasten maybe the top button of your shirt. And especially for older people that have dexterity issues, arthritis, carpal tunnel, this can be a real challenge, a real difficulty each and every day. And if your wife's not there to help you or your child's not there to help you, you want to be able to dress yourself each and every day. So this becomes a great tool. And then for younger guys out there, you just use it as a collar stay. If you're an older gentleman, use it to button your sleeve buttons and then use it as a collar stay. So this little pack here has stainless steel collar stays. You have 3 different sizes because obviously every collar is different lengths. And it's metal, so you don't have to worry about it causing your collars to curl. It's a great complement to the Perky collar because the Perky collar does not prevent collars from curling. You need to wear collar stays. So why not wear button-up collar stays that can also help you fasten your buttons at the same time? So that's the button-up collar stays. These are $20, also available on PerkyLLC.com. Next up is holeless belts. And I'm sure you're all thinking, oh, I've seen the Mission belt on Shark Tank. I've seen that. Well, this is different. This is 100% cowhide. That's one of the biggest differences. It's the same type of leather that you use on the saddles of horses. So it's much thicker, stronger leather. There's no ratchet system here, unlike the Comfort Click belt that's all over TV right now. Instead, the technology is in the buckle. So all you're going to simply do is you're going to put the belt through and it locks in place. Now, it's holiday time. We're all gaining weight, let's be honest. Okay? So what we do, instead of having to go up an inch or down an entire inch based on our weight fluctuation, we just simply tilt the buckle a little bit, bring it in a little bit. If I lost a little weight, and it locks back in place. If I just had a big holiday meal, I loosen it a teensy bit, back in place. Again, I don't have to go up or down an entire inch. These are beautiful. They come in brown, which is what I have here. They come in cognac, which is what I have displayed here. And they also come in black. They are a limited supply. They are very hard to get a hold of for whatever reason. But I do have about a dozen left to service the community. And I can guarantee you, whoever you give this belt to will never wear a whole belt again because it's a frustration to have to poke around holes, to stretch the holes out because you gain a little weight, lose a little weight. The belt never fits right. We don't gain weight by 1-inch increments. So why would we have a belt that only goes up or down by an inch? So those are all the innovative products that we have on the website. And in closing, we also have some fashion items on our website. because we realize that people that are buying innovative products also like to look good with different pocket squares, different pocket rounds. Well, my wife makes all of our pocket squares and pocket rounds. They're also all available on our website, perkyllc.com. And here's an example of one of her pocket rounds. Those of you who've never seen a pocket round before, it's the same as a pocket square, just circular. But you notice it's two-sided. No one else does that. You notice the stitch work is two different colors. We got light blue on one side and kind of a royal blue on the other. But again, when folded, it really becomes a work of art. So just to kind of give you a quick example of how beautiful a pocket round is, this is an example. And then when you use the pocket square holder, it prevents the pocket square from unfolding, or pocket round, again in this case, from unfolding. So when you put it in the pocket, it stays perfect all day long. So again, pocket squares, pocket rounds, all handmade, all limited edition on the website. We've also added some pre-tied and self-tied bow ties. They're all limited edition, all very unique. We also have some little bow tie lapel buttons. These actually are buttons that go in the lapel of a jacket to act as a color accent, to bring out a color maybe in the pinstripe, a color in your shirt, a color in your pocket square, pocket round, just a great little accent. And again, it's not a pin. It's actually a button that goes in the buttonhole. And then finally we have some silk scarves that were designed by my 17-year-old daughter, who's an incredibly gifted artist. We took her canvas paintings and turned them into 60 by 20 and 50 by 50 scarves. And then for the men, we created some 16-inch by 16-inch pocket squares that are beautiful to put into your jacket pocket of your blazer. Again, you've been watching the Perky Collar radio and TV show here on the Wake Up Call Network. I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you tune in again next week. And until then, we'll see you next time.